Good morning. Welcome to Good Day Street Talk. I'm Steve Lacey. Tragedy in Connecticut while we remember those lost in the deadly shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. We also look for much needed answers in the wake of a senseless crime that has not only gripped the quaint New England town, but also the entire nation. Here's Dan Bowens.
A nation now mourning with Newtown and neighboring Sandy Hook as we learn more about the victims. Their lives lost in what police describe as a massacre inside the elementary school.
We're in mourning. You know, it's a grieving process for the whole community, not just for the families. And we're just there to support them and pray for them.
Those shot and killed, 12 little girls, 8 boys, and 6 adults. Examinations show all the victims were shot at close range with a high-powered rifle, some as many as 11 times.
When something as senseless as this occurs, there's precious little anyone can say to the families that will lessen the horror and the sense of loss they feel.
Adam Lanza, seen here in an earlier photo, forced his way into the school. He was armed with 2 handguns and that semi-automatic rifle. All of the weapons were reportedly legally purchased and registered to his mother.
And as children go back into school in the wake of such an event, there are a lot of questions. Are we safe? From Columbine to Virginia Tech, we've witnessed this before time and time again. But will the shooting at Sandy Hook somehow change the way we look at security moving forward? Joining me now for more is security expert Michael McCann, who is president of McCann Protective Services. Michael, thanks for being with us. We appreciate you bringing your perspective here today. Well, you know, right in the piece about 20 seconds ago, we heard it appears the school was locked down. He had to blast his way in. This wasn't the result of having an open-door policy. I think in the 10, 12 years since Columbine, schools have instituted procedures. There's just a limit to what you can do if someone's that intent on getting in, it appears.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, there are a couple of main issues that need to be discussed. As the president said, we have to do something. One issue is the school security. This school they did pretty well with the school security. Guns, of course, is another issue. And then people looking at the telltale signs and the parents involved and other people involved with the children or people that are involved in these kinds of incidents. You
know, and one of the things you're starting to see now, the NRA has been quiet, but it looks like what we might start to hear something along the lines of that these unarmed school zones make the kids sitting ducks. What do you think about the idea of guns in school in a defensive manner, maybe through a qualified person on staff, etc. In general, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we should limit the number of guns in schools. I don't think that is a good scenario. It's not going to help the issue. It creates other problems. I mean, quite possibly, I've been discussing an idea with my company, is supplying retired police officers to schools who teach, or can act as the gym instructor or an administrative position. And so now you're getting someone that's well qualified as a teacher, has great life experience, and if need be, he also is licensed with a registered gun that wouldn't be shown.
Because, all right, and I think the point you make there is a very valid one, that you're getting the educational element of them, because the bottom line, schools are strapped for cash. They don't have the money to have all the guards you would need to prevent against every scenario.
Right. You can't. So you're getting a double for your money, and it's helping people that are well trained and have the experience leaving one job and going into another job that may be of interest to them.
What about the design of schools? Is that something that we're going to look at? I mean, are the kids just sitting ducks in those rooms? They've got one way in, one way out. We saw that in this latest situation in Newtown.
Well, I think as this incident showed, the school did very well. They did the planning. They had the training with the police, the drills. They knew about the signs, so they did very well. As schools are being built or maybe redesigned, what you would put in the front of the school is some kind of what's called a man-trap area, where you open one door, but you cannot get into the school until you're cleared past the second door. So there's other things that maybe could be done that, again, require money, but they could be done as new schools are built.
Right. I mean, in general, where do you think the debate's going to take us as far as the role of guns? As someone who is in security, do you think in a larger scale that there is a valid argument for having these clips with 30-plus bullets in them, the automatic weapons, or should those be in the hands of professionals only?
I've read a lot on both sides, on the NRA side and then on Congress, what they're trying to do. And like every issue, nothing is white and black. There's a lot of gray. If an assault weapon ban, such as 1994, with teeth, not the way it was written back then. It would reduce the number of assault weapons, probably the number of clips, these clips which people don't need. It's not a hunting thing, and people can argue about other reasons for it, but it's not something that needs. It will not prevent this from happening, because the signs which I mentioned in a book here for workplace violence, which covers schools also, Potential by Bill Whitmore, 19-year-olds, they have a history of mental illness, lonely, fixated on guns, and where do they get the guns? Most of these cases, they steal them from relatives or friends. So they don't have the guns usually with them. They're stealing them. So
they're not legally purchasing them in the first place.
If this gentleman that did all this and caused all this tragedy, if he did not have an assault weapon, he probably would still have done it with the sidearms, but I would hope or anticipate that it would not have been as severe. Not as many children would have died.
And it could have been worse if the cops didn't get in as quickly as they did, because he had a lot more ammo. And just briefly, wrapping up too, we've seen a lot of the victims victimized a second time through a new form of terrorism via the web, Twitter, people posting, making fake memorial accounts, etc. I mean, how do you protect against that? It just seems so particularly gruesome.
Well, I think another thing what schools are doing, or some schools are doing, because I've been speaking to a lot of school administrators and helping them with some of their plans, is what they're doing is they're monitoring the website, the school email site, for other parts of that issue you talked about, meaning looking at what the children are writing after school. What are they posting? What kind of pictures? Are they talking about violence? Are they bullying? So they'll look at the what's going on the school's website and the Twitter and things like that to keep abreast of what's going on.
This one was so troubling, though, just because there was no tie-in to this guy in that school. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess there's only so much you can do, but there are smart things we can do to hopefully prevent something like this before. All right, Michael McCann from McCann Protective Services, we do appreciate you coming in. It is a huge issue we're going to be hearing